Hello friends, today I take up a new topic and the name of the topic is cracks in the federalism of India. So the lesson plan includes why is it in the news? Number one. Number two, India is a federal state with unitary bias. Number three, unitary features of the constitution. Number four, center-state relations. Number five, cooperation between center and state. All India services. Distribution of tax revenues. Distribution of non-tax revenue. Tensions areas in center-state relations. The recent provocations, and finally conclusion. So friends, I will discuss today one by one under these headings. So if you like my channel, please share and subscribe AJIS Academy on YouTube and get benefit, because I have uploaded numerous videos covering different topics meant for UPSC and other competitive examinations, and these videos cover Indian history, Constitution of India, Indian economy, general science, general mathematics and reasoning, and Indian geography. So don't go anywhere, just subscribe my channel and you will get lots of videos beneficial for you. So now start the proceedings. Friends, as you know that why is it in the news, why I have taken up this topic. Number one, as you have read the newspaper Hindu, you would have found that there is a news caption, and that is Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin backed a call by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to hold a convention of Chief Ministers of non-BJP states. It is published in 14th February. Now, accusation is that governors of non-BJP states overstepped constitutional power and misused their position brazenly. Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao said that he would play an important role in the formation of any front formed against BJP in the next election. So what you see, the tussle has started between the center and the state ruled by non-BJP states. Now, friends, as you know that in recent years there were certain developments that strained the relation between center and states. Number one, it was the proposed amendment in All India Service Rule. Service Rule 1954, whereby now the proposed amendment takes away the right of the state to dissent against the deputation of an officer of All India cadre. So if there is a difference between center and state regarding the deputation of a particular officer, the opinion of center will prevail over the opinion of states, and the recommendation of center will be accepted within a time-bound frame. And so there was a reaction among the non-BJP states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Telangana, Jharkhand, West Bengal. these states objected to the proposed amendment in the All India Service Rules 1954. Now, in 2016, what is found? In 2016, the governor of Arunachal Pradesh decided to advance the election of assembly, legislative assembly, and so the Supreme Court intervened and it ruled that discretionary power of the governor doesn't extend to the extent of advancing the schedule of election. It ruled that the summoning of legislative assembly or setting the agenda for legislative assembly will be done with the concurrence of the chief minister or a speaker of the concerned state. The governor can't do these things under the garb of discretionary powers as enumerated in Article 163 of the Constitution. Again, what we saw in recent year, that governors of Goa, Karnataka and Maharashtra overstepped their brief, and the governors of these states made chief ministers of these states without verifying whether they enjoy the majority in the legislative assembly or not. So they just advanced a particular political agenda, and that's why Supreme Court intervened in the case of Karnataka or Maharashtra. In Goa, even the largest party with 17 members was Congress party in 2017 election, but governor made the chief minister from the BJP. So what you see, that it was against the convention, and the convention was the largest party leader must be called in and be sworn in as chief minister, as we have found in 1996 when the then president of India, Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma, showed the leader of largest party BJP, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, as Prime Minister of India. So friends, we see that democracy cannot thrive without adhering to convention. Everything cannot be written in the Constitution, and like the British Constitution, we will have to evolve convention, and then we will have to follow it. So in Rajasthan, what we have seen, that governor refused to summon the state assembly, and it was beyond his brief. Again, in gold smuggling case, the Principal Secretary of Chief Minister of Kerala was made accused, and so in retaliation, the government of Kerala instituted inquiry commission against CBI. So what we see, that there has been a strain of relationship between the center and states in these years. Similarly, we have found how arrest warrant was issued against the police commissioner Kolkata Rajiv Kumar, and similarly the chief secretary of West Bengal Alpan Bandyopadhyay is facing disciplinary action for not adhering to the dictates of central government. So friends, there are numerous incidences of strained relationship between the center and state, and now I will switch over to another heading, that is called India is a federal state with unitary bias. Friends, one of the special feature of our constitution is that Indian state is federal state with unitary bias. Why I am telling you, I will describe in detail. Now, according to Article 1 of the Constitution, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. What does this mean? It means two things. Number one, that the union has not been formed out of the agreements among units, I mean states. And number two, no unit has right, I mean the state has right to secede from the indestructible union. So friends, what we see, while union cannot be destroyed, it is indestructible. States can be destroyed, and you have seen that in the past so many states have been created. The latest example is Telangana, which were carved out from Andhra Pradesh state. Similarly, in 1956, by the State Reorganization Act, so many states were formed. Now, these, although there is no reference of federal, the term federal in our constitution, but if we read our constitution, you will find that our constitution is a federal constitution with unitary bias. Why I am telling this? I will just prove this point. Now, what are the special features of a federal state? Number one, it must have dual polity, and as you know that there are two types of government in our country. One is the central government and others are state governments. And there is a clear-cut jurisdiction between the central government and state governments. Now, written constitution, ours is a written constitution. All powers of the three organs of the government, I mean the executive, legislature and judiciary, has been clearly defined in our constitution, and it has been exhorted that no organ should overstep in the domain of other organ. So there is a clear-cut division of power, and as you know that according to our 7th schedule of the constitution, there are three lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. And as far as union list is concerned, Parliament is supreme and it can make laws enumerated in union list. State legislatures can make laws enumerated in state list, and in matters relating to concurrent list, both Parliament and state legislatures have right to enact laws. Friends, as you know that at the present moment there are 104 items in union list 61 items are in state list and 52 items are in concurrent list. Rigid constitution. One of the basic feature of federalism is that it must be rigid constitution. And what we find that there are certain provisions in our constitution which are related to states or federal feature, they cannot be easily amended. For example, in the past government amended GST, and now for this purpose government had to pass this law in both houses of parliament with a special majority, and then it was passed in half of the states with a special majority. So whenever there is a question of amendment of federal part of the constitution, the amendment process has become a bit very much difficult, and our constitution has become rigid. It is unlike the British constitution where every amendment can be done as an ordinary legislation. So now another feature of federalism is independent judiciary. And friends, as you know that in our constitution there is a provision of integrated judiciary with the Supreme Court at the top, high courts at the state level, and then subordinate judiciary at the district level. But we have integrated judiciary. Supreme Court is the final appellate authority. It has got original jurisdiction insofar as the dispute between center and states are concerned, and it is the guardian of our constitution. It is the final interpreter of the constitution. Now the final feature of federalism is bicameralism, the institution of two houses. And friends, as you know that in our constitution there is a provision of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha is lower house, and elections of its member is held every 5 years. It can be dissolved earlier also, and there is another house that is called upper house, I mean Rajya Sabha, and it is a permanent body. It cannot be dissolved. 1/3 of its members retire every 2 years. So all these features are available in our constitution. So we can say that our constitution is a federal. Our constitution wants to establish a federal state in our country. Now, in spite of being a federal state, there are certain unique feature of our constitution which can be said unitary bias. So what are the special points of unitary bias? I will discuss one by one. Number one, a strong center. As you know that central government in our constitution has been made more powerful. It has got more subjects under union list, as I have already told you, and the power of central government is more widespread than state government, because I have already told you that only 61 subjects are under a state list. Now, states are not indestructible. Friends, as you know that by ordinary legislation, a state can be carved out. In India, we should not go through the amendment process as far as carving out or merger of a state or evolution of a state is concerned. So this is just unlike the situation that obtains in the US Constitution, where the central government and the state governments are indestructible. Or if you want to destroy or merge one state with another state in the US, there is a requirement of 3/4 majority resolution to be passed by the concerned state, and then it has to be ratified by the Congress. So it is a very difficult process of carving out a new state in the US. But in our country, what you find, that so many states have been created after independence, like Haryana, Punjab, Goa, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand. The list is endless. Now there is a provision of single constitution in our country. What you find in America? Every state has its own constitution. But in our country there is a single constitution which governs both the central government and state government. Again, flexibility of the constitution. There are numerous provisions in our constitution which can be amended by simple majority. Now there are certain provision which can be amended by a special majority. There are few provisions which can be amended by a special majority of either house of the parliament and then by half of the state of the union. So what you see, there is a provision of flexibility of the constitution, no equality of state representation. Friends, as you know that in America, what you find, that every state has 2 representatives in the Senate, and so in America the total number of states are 50 and the number of representatives in the Senate is 100. So every state, irrespective of its size, has the right to send 2 representatives in the Senate. But in our constitution, what we find, that while the state UP sends 31 members in Rajya Sabha, Madhya Pradesh 11 members. So what we find, that it is the strength of the representative of a particular state is governed by the population. Emergency provisions. Friends, as you know that in our constitution, a special provisions relating to emergency has been entered into, and that is under Article 352 to Article 360, whereby 3 types of emergency has been provided, like external aggression and armed rebellion under Article 352, President rule under Article 356, and financial emergency under Article 360. During the period of emergency, the powers of a state legislature and a state executive are very much subordinated to the central government and parliament. And during these periods, the central government becomes a unitary government. Now, there is a provision of single citizenship. And friends, as you know that in a federal government, in a federal society, or state, what you find that there is a dual citizenship as you find in America. But in our country, whether you belong to Tamil Nadu or Bihar, it is immaterial, you are Indian citizen. Now there is a provision of integrated judiciary, and it is just in opposition to what you find in the US. So our Supreme Court is at the top of the integrated judiciary, and both state laws and central laws can be heard by Supreme Court. This thing cannot be found in America. All India services, and there are 3 services under this category: Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service, and Indian Forest Service. So there is a provision of all India services in our constitution whereby its member work in different states, but they are controlled because they are appointed by the President of India, and they are controlled by central government as far as their service condition is concerned. Now, integrated audit and machinery. Friends, as you know that the audit of central government and state government is done by Comptroller and Auditor General of India, CAG. Comptroller and Auditor General of India, CAG. CAG audits both the accounts of both central and state government. Parliament authority over state list. Friends, as you know that Parliament has certain special authority over state list, and I will discuss it in later on. You know that when there is emergency, Parliament has power to enact state laws. When Rajya Sabha pass a resolution on particular state list, Parliament can make laws for that state. Rajya Sabha has a special power to create a new All India services by passing the resolution by 2/3 majority. Appointment of governor. What you find that governor is appointed by the President of India, and he is the head of the state, and secondly he also acts as the agent of the central government. So by appointing and dismissal of governor by the President of India, the central government controls the affairs of state governments. Integrated election machinery. Friends, as you know that in our country there is Chief Election Commissioner, and he holds election for both the state assemblies and Lok Sabha or Parliament, and the election of President and Vice President and Legislative Council. So there is a provision of integrated election machinery. Veto over state bills. There are certain provision in our constitution whereby President can veto the bills passed by the concerned state legislature, and this is a final. No court can challenge over it. So therefore our constitution is quasi-federal. Why I am telling you? K.C. Where, one of the authorities on the Indian Constitution, K.C. Where, labeled our Constitution as quasi-federal, that means half federal, where there is a mix of the features of federalism and unitary features. So this is amalgam of federalism and unitary type of government. Now we switch over to center-state relations. Friends, as you know, it has got three dimensions. One is legislative, second is executive, administrative, and third is financial. We will discuss these relations one by one. And as you know that under legislative relation, Article 244 to 255 of Part 11 of the Constitution discuss in detail about the legislative relation between the center and state government. Now, Parliament can make laws for the whole of India. The state legislature can make laws for the entire state or part of the state. The Parliament alone can make extraterritorial legislation, and this legislation is concerned with those people who are residing in the foreign country. However, the laws of Parliament are not applicable in case of three union territories, and these union territories are: number 1, Andaman Nicobar Islands, number 2, Lakshadweep, and number 3 is Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. So these three union territories may not apply the laws passed by the Parliament. Now, the scheduled area, as you know, under the Schedule 5 of the Constitution, those areas which have large number of tribals, they have been earmarked as scheduled area under Schedule 5, and autonomous district of Assam, and similarly the autonomous tribal district of Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. These areas may not apply the laws of Parliament. So President or Governor of that state may frame rules and regulation for these areas. Now, Constitution provides threefold division of legislative subject between center and state, and I have already discussed it. And these threefold divisions are the union list, the state list, and concurrent list. So now exclusive power of Parliament is to make laws under union list. Similarly, the state legislature has exclusive power to make laws for a state list, and in matters relating to concurrent list, both Parliament and state legislatures have right to enact laws. But whenever there is a clash between the laws made by state legislatures and Parliament, the laws made by Parliament will supersede over the laws made by state legislatures on the same subject. Now, what is it? When Rajya Sabha passes a resolution, Parliament can make laws with regard to state laws, but only for 1 year by 2/3 majority. But it can be continued for subsequent years by the method of passing the resolution by 2/3 majority every time. During the national emergency, Parliament has the power to acquire legislative power with regard to state lists. When a state makes a request makes a request to Parliament to make laws with respect to a state list, Parliament can make laws on the state list. And friends, as you know that because of the request of the state legislatures, Parliament made laws regarding the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Prevention and Control Act 1974, Water Prevention and Control Act 1974, Urban Land Act, Sealing and Regulation Act 1976. I am just citing a few acts out of the concurrence between the state legislature and Parliament to implement international agreement during President to implement international agreements. Whenever the government enter into or the central government enter into an agreement or treaty with a foreign country, the Parliament can make laws even on the subject related to a state list. Similarly, during the President rule, whenever under Article 356, the President promulgates emergency, and this is called President rule. So, whenever a particular state is under President rule, the Parliament can legislate on any item on the state list, and even after the end of the President rule, those laws which have been passed by Parliament will be effective. Governor can reserve certain type of bill for the consideration of the President. Again, the bills on certain matters related to the state list can be introduced in state assemblies with the prior approval of President. Again, during financial emergency, the President has power to reserve the financial bill or money bill for its consideration. Now, I switch over to another heading, and this is called administrative relation, which covers under Article 256 to 263 of our Constitution. Friends, as you know, it is enumerated in Part 11 of the Constitution. So now, what are the important ingredients of administrative relation between the center and state? Now I am discussing one by one in detail. Number one, administrative power of the center extend to the whole of India, the union territories, the acquired territories. Executive power of the state extend to its territory with two exceptions. Number one, the state executive has to ensure compliance of the laws made by Parliament, number one. Number two, not to impede or prejudice the exercise of the executive power in the center, power of the center in the state. According to Article 365, it is mandatory for state government to comply the directions given by the center, and failing which the center can impose President rule in that state, accusing it that the government is not being run according to the provision of the Constitution. So that state will be slapped under President rule under Article 356 of the Constitution. The center is empowered to give direction to the state with respect to maintenance of the means of communication or protection to railways, adequate facility for instruction in the mother tongue, and at the primary stage, a special scheme for the welfare of scheduled tribe. So these direction can be issued by the central government to one state or all the states. Now, cooperation between the center and state. What are the provisions for the cooperation between center and state? Number one, the constitution contains the provision for adjudication of any disputes arising out between two states on account of waterways or the distribution of water. So, the President can establish an interstate council under Article 263 to investigate and discuss subjects of common interest between center and state. And because of this article, the central government established the Interstate Council in 1990. 190. Now, friends, as you know that there is a provision of All India Service, whereby there are three services under this. In IS, Indian Administrative Service, second Indian Police Service, and third is Indian Forest Service. So what you see that while the members of this service are appointed by the central government or the President of India, its service condition is controlled by DOPT, Department of Personnel and Training. They work in different states. So, again, Public Service Commission. Friends, as you know that while the chairman and members of State Public Service Commission are appointed by the governor of that state, but they cannot be removed by governor. They can only be removed by the President of India on the inquiry by the Supreme Court of India. Integrated judicial system, I have already discussed in detail about it. Relation during emergency. And friends, as you know that during emergency, the administrative power of the center extend to even the state list. And so, though the state assembly may not be suspended, but its power becomes very much less. Appointment of a governor of a state, and I have already told you how. By appointing governor, the central government controls over the state governments, because governor stays in his office till the pleasure of the President of India. So, although he is appointed by the President for 5 years, but he can be removed anytime at the will of the President of India. Extra constitutional devices like Niti Aayog, now it has been supplanted. Niti Aayog supplanted the Planning Commission, which was established in 1950 by the first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and then Central Council of Health, Zonal Council, North Eastern Council, University Grant Commission. All these are extra constitutional devices, and these constitutional bodies very much impinge upon the power and function of the executive of the states. Now I switch over to financial relation. Friends, as you know that financial relation between the center and the state is now, it has been most important topic after 1967, when Congress lost majority in more than 9 states, and after the election in 1967, its majority in Lok Sabha very much reduced. So what you see that from that time onwards, there has been accusation by different states against central government that state governments are very much financially poor and most of the resources are in the side of central government. So the financial relation is, and under this category I will discuss the exclusive power of parliament to levy taxes on subject in the union list. Similarly, the state legislature has the power to levy taxes on state list, and both parliament and state government, state legislature can levy taxes on concurrent list. Residuary power of taxation rests with the central government. Now, distribution of tax revenues. Friends, as you know that tax is levied by center but collected and appropriated by the state under Article 268, and like just for example checks, stamp duties on bill exchange, policy of insurance, transfer of shares, promissory notes, all these under this category, taxes are levied by the center but collected and appropriated by the state under Article 268. Now, under Article 68A, service tax levied by the center but collected and appropriated by the center and state government, and its limit has now been fixed to 2500 rupees. According to Article 269 of the Constitution, taxes levied and collected by the center but assigned to a state, like taxes on the sale or purchase of goods other than the newspaper in the course of interstate trade of commerce, taxes on the consignment of goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Distribution. Taxes levied and collected by center but distributed between center and state government under Article 271. And under this category we find all taxes and duties referred to in the union list except duty and taxes under Article 268, 268A and 271. The net proceeds of these taxes and duties are prescribed by the President on the recommendation of Finance Commission. Finance Commission, not Minister. According to Article 271, surcharge on certain taxes by center can be collected, and friends, as you know that government realize surcharge on petroleum products like education cess or corona cess, you can say this. So taxes levied and collected and retained by state. For example, land revenue, for example, sale tax, irrigation tax. So these taxes are levied and collected and retained by states. Distribution of non-tax revenue. Friends, as you know that a center received from the following the major source of non-tax revenue. As you know that the central government runs so many public sector undertakings, and the profits accrued from these PSUs go to the exchequer of central government. Similarly, by banking, currency, railways, central government earns revenues. Similarly, state government earn revenue through non-tax revenue like revenue from forest, from irrigation, from fisheries, from state public sector undertaking. These are the important source of non-tax revenue for state government. Now, Finance Commission, friends, as you know, under Article 280, there is a provision that President will appoint every 5 years the members and chairman of Finance Commission. So, its work is to devolve the net proceeds of taxes between the center and the state government. Now, we come to another point, and that is the tension areas in center and state relation. Friends, as you know, that there are certain areas that have been earmarked for the tussle between center and state governments. These areas are: number one, mode of appointment and dismissal of governor; number two, discriminatory and partisan role of governors; number three, imposition of president rule for partisan rule; reservation of state bills for the consideration of the president without giving due reason for that; discrimination in financial allocation to the state government; management of all India services; use of electronic media for political purposes; encroachment by the center on the state list. So these are the important areas where there is a difference or tussle between the center and state government. So friends, what you see, that how can we improve upon the relation between center and state? Number one, by appointing governor with the concurrence of the chief minister of the concerned state. Number one, governor should go by the convention established by the then President of India, Shankar Dayal Sharma, in 1996, where the leader of the largest party was sworn in as the Prime Minister of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, in 1996. Although he did not command majority in Lok Sabha, but he was sworn in as the Prime Minister of India. No democracy can thrive without following the convention. So what we have to do? Every governor should be instructed or should be given direction in writing that they would follow convention, and only the leader of the largest party will be called in for swearing in. So there should not be deviation on this point. We have seen in Goa, where Congress was the largest party having 17 members, but its leader was not sworn in. Instead, the BJP leader was sworn in as the chief minister, although he had got lesser numerical strength in legislative assembly. Secondly, discriminatory and partisan role of governors, as you have found in Karnataka and Maharashtra, where without ascertaining the strength of the leader of the house, the governor sworn in a particular leader to advance its political agenda. Now, imposition of president rule for partisan rule. Partisan rule, it should be avoided for the smooth functioning between the center and state, and we have found in the case of Uttarakhand where the president rule was imposed upon. So this kind of things must not happen in our body polity. Certain bills are reserved for the consideration of president. Now we have seen how the NEET bill passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly has been sent for consideration of President of India by Governor. So if certain bill is reserved for consideration, the Governor must give the reason why it is reserving, why he is reserving the particular bill for the consideration of President. Discrimination in financial allocation to the state. Friends, as you know that since 1967 it has been the allegation of different state governments that the financial resources are very much tilted towards central government. So more and more steps will have to be taken for increasing the resources of financial resources of state government. As you know that the state government have to discharge different types of functions which are directly connected with the improvement of the standard of the people, amelioration of the condition of the people. So it is incumbent upon the leadership that the financial resources of state government must be enhanced. Again, management of all India services is also a thought in the relation of between central and government, central and state government, and this has to be amicably settled. Again, use of electronic media for political purposes, it has been the allegation since 30 to 40 years. So opposition parties should also be given ample time to present their viewpoints before public. And encroachment by the center on the state list. Friends, as you know that I have given so many circumstances whereby Parliament can make laws in matters relating to a state list. In the original constitution, there were 66 subjects under a state list. Now it has been reduced to 61. So at least 5 subjects have been put into concurrent list. In the original constitution, there were 47 subjects under concurrent list. Now its number is 52. So 5 subjects under a state list were transferred to concurrent list. And friends, as you know, whenever in matters relating to concurrent list, the power of Parliament is more pronounced than the power of a state legislature. And whenever a law is made on the same subject by both Parliament and a state legislature, the laws passed by Parliament will supersede over the laws passed by a state legislature insofar as the laws are concerned with the concurrent list. So we see that we must strengthen our state government also. Now, the recent provocation, friends, as you know I have already told you the proposed amendment to the All India Services Rules, where the Government of India want to amend the All India Service Rules 1954 to take away the liberty to deny consent of the state government. Whenever there is a difference between the central and state government in matters relating to deputation of a particular officer, the will of central government will prevail over state government. Deployment of the Central Investigating Agency in the state, and there are acquisitions upon central government by state government that central agencies are being misused by central government to terrorize state government. And I have given you numerous examples how in matters relating to gold smuggling, CBI arrested the Principal Secretary of Chief Minister of Kerala, and in retaliation, Kerala government instituted judicial inquiry against CBI. So, what you see, that the deployment of the Central Investigating Agency in the states are very much opposed by state government. Now, what is the conclusion? Friends, as you know, that this topic, the strained relation between central and state government, is one of the important topics of our constitution. For the smooth functioning of the democracy in our country, it is incumbent upon both the central and state government, both parliament and state legislatures, to maintain decorum, to coordinate, to cooperate. So, both the government, the central government and the state government, try to establish collaborative federalism in our country. So, it is the need of the hour that the central and state government should work in conjunction with each other to give maximum benefit to the poor and downtrodden. Friends, as you know, that India is now on the threshold of becoming the great power in the Committee of Nations, and so these bickerings, these strained relation between central and state must end amicably. So friends, now I am winding up my lecture. Please share and subscribe my channel AJIS Academy. If you like my channel, please tell your friends that this is a free channel. Thank you very much.